Peace family, Vie Darling, the Cosmic Queen, your intergalactic interpreter, and it has been a while. We're gonna get some insight on this situation in which you have been wronged, or you might feel that you were wronged. So let's get into it. In terms of what happened, you've been in a situation where you were kind of afraid of moving forward because you did not trust your power to magnetize what it is you wanted for yourself. You were holding on to your old life, and this is because of fear of the past, fear of, you know, what you've been through before, and I guess in a way not wanting to suffer the pains of moving forward and letting go. And this definitely is an unjust situation. You were definitely experiencing wrongdoing, but the thing that I want to say here, and it was so that you would not feel powerful, it was so that you felt like you couldn't do better. But the thing is that, like, when you're in a situation like that, you have to be like reasonable and understand that, like, you can't 12-12 on the clock. Like, if you want to get out of that situation, you have to get out of it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't stay in the situation and also leave the situation. So going through what you have to go through in order to get out of it is just, you know, what you need to do. And the growing pains are gonna come, but this is so that you can develop the kind of mindset that you need to develop in order for you to be in this other life that you are manifesting for yourself through your actions. So you're definitely coming into that, and it just requires you to divest from the past and invest in the new and get clear on what it is you want to invest in. When I'm recording this is on the Leo new moon. It's like understanding that your energy is precious and that, you know, you need to be clear on where you want to focus it and what you want to use it for, and only focus it in that direction. You don't owe anybody your energy. You know what I mean? You don't owe anyone your presence. And if they have done what they have done in order to, you know, lose access, then that's what they've done. But you need to build towards your future unapologetically. And I don't mean this to be like not reject, but like neglect your responsibilities. But I do mean this in the sense of like, you know, be of service to yourself first, because you cannot help others if you cannot help yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. And these relationships are 100% draining you and leaving your cup empty. So what I sense is that you're fighting your way out of this now. In terms of your side, I definitely get the sense that this is trauma programming and trauma bonding. This is a work situation. This boss is someone who, like, purposefully tries to trauma bond with people. If this is a platonic relationship, a romantic relationship, these people, platonic especially, this is a person who purposely, like, wants to enmesh with people in order to control them and emotionally manipulate and abuse them. They are a covert narcissist, 100%. They wanted you to be all alone. They wanted you to feel like you had no place else to go, like this was the best that you could experience. And for some of you, this person, this is only going to resonate for a few of you, so take it as it applies, but this person definitely is triple letter, and they were definitely working against you, and they definitely, like, that's their whole thing. That's their whole, like, their whole life is basically built around this kind of, like, saboteur work. And there was a manipulation to get you into relation with this person, whether or not it's the adversary, but I definitely feel like for some of you it's like triple letter interference. They wanted you to be outside of your sovereignty. They wanted you to be kept in a state of like powerlessness, and out of like not able to see yourself clearly. But they didn't know that you were like as powerful as you are. They thought that you were some little weak little idiot because they just underestimated you. They didn't realize, like, one, how much you knew, and two, your level of tenacity. Their tricks did not work on you. Like, to what extent it did work on you, sure, but like it didn't work clearly. Otherwise you wouldn't have like divested from that relationship. I definitely sense that like you are liberating yourself from this situation and all situations. And I want to say, in terms of like what you do next, do not focus your energy on that past timeline. Continue divesting, because they didn't want you to know how powerful and abundant you are. They don't want you to they absolutely do not want you to contribute your energy to your own stuff, because they don't want you to build your empire. They don't want you to be prosperous. They don't want you to be abundant. Page of Cups in the reverse. Yeah, they wanted to keep you, like, I'm hearing associate. They wanted to keep you at like a low level forever. An associate level is what I'm picking up, like if this is a work thing. And yeah, what they didn't know is that they were really just preparing you for your liberation, and everything that they were throwing at you, the Most High, your own higher power, great gods, guides, and ancestors, were using that to train you and like prepare you for your own liberation. You're the one who had to do it. Nobody could do it for you, because this is a free will realm. They absolutely do not want this new start for you. They have been working against you to keep you from accessing it, but you just have to remember your power, and you have come into balance. They are working in the, like, they've been working behind your back to like keep you from success. I don't know exactly like what they are doing. Spirit, what are they doing? For some of you, it is spell work. For some of you, it is spell work. Others of you, I don't pick up that they're like talking behind your back, but like they have sabotaged your progress for sure. So like, if you had to, if this is a work-related situation, and basically, if ever, don't ever recommend people to like reach out to your old employer to ask about you, because if you do, they're going to say things to sabotage you and like get people to turn against you and to think like lowly of you. They're gonna lie, basically. They're gonna lie and be like, oh yeah, that person's a terrible employee. Or they're not gonna say things outright like that, but they're going to subversively say things to make it seem like you're bad. Like, oh yeah, they were mostly on time, but a lot of the time, like, you know, there were a few times, you know, actually no, like there were a good number of times where this person did this thing wrong, or they were late, or whatever. They are manipulative, and they are a liar, and they're gonna feel like justified in doing this. I get the sense that this person is a like dead ass, like an energy vampire, and I get the sense that like this person is demonic, is what I'm really feeling. Like they are demonic for sure. They might also be take it as it applies. They might be reptilian. They might be yeah, reptilian is what I'm picking up. And at the very least, if they are not in terms of like you know, the extraterrestrial stuff, they only operate from their basal ganglia. They only operate from what psychologists call the reptilian brain. Like, they do not operate in their frontal lobe. They are completely like two-dimensional. They believe in black or white thinking. They only care about what their feelings are. They only care about their own needs. This person, I'm hearing 𝗂𝗪𝗧𝗪. Like, this person talks a good game because they might be like a neoliberal. They might feel like they're an intellectual for that reason. This is the type of person who like, oh, I listen to NPR. But it's like, yeah, but you don't actually have any creativity. You're not a critical thinker. You don't have, your frontal lobe is so underused. Like, you do not have the power of sophisticated thought, problem solving, none of that stuff. This person is an idiot, is what I'm really picking up. They're just an idiot. Queen of Wands in reverse and Three of Swords, they really thought it's not working. Like, the stuff that they tried to do to like get you trapped and ensnared hasn't worked, and that's really upsetting to them. What I'm picking up is that they are definitely triple letter trained. Definitely triple letter trained. Take it as it applies. This is for, you know, if it doesn't fit your story, it's gonna fit somebody else's. Don't try and make things fit to you that you don't already feel like that's you. Like, if this is for you, you would have already had suspicion about this. You know what I mean? Because I'm just reflecting back to you what's already there. You would have already had suspicion about this. If you never had a suspicion about this, if this doesn't resonate, if this doesn't feel like, oh my God, like, that's exactly for sure. Like, yeah, like, this is not, I'm not talking about your situation. However, there might be other parts of this reading that I am talking about your situation. So you need to be discerning. Don't be an idiot like this person. Be discerning, be a critical thinker, you know, use your frontal lobe, because, you know, you're not a proto-human Homo erectus, okay? Like, use sophisticated thought and reasoning tools to determine what is and what is not applicable to your situation, and take it as it applies. The Hermit. Yeah, I feel like this period where you have maybe felt like you were trapped, you weren't trapped. Like, you've been in hermit mode because you've been gathering the tools, resources, and insights necessary for you to be able to do what it is you're meant to do on the other side of this experience, basically. Slowly but surely you are leveling up out of this situation, so believe that. We get Judgment at the bottom of the deck. Judgment at the bottom of the deck, 20. I will say also, for the new moon today, if you're watching this when I'm recording it, the new moon today, the numerology comes down to 20. So, which comes down to 2. This is actually the end of a really big cycle. Like, what has maybe been stressful for you is like, it's been a lot of little cycles like ending, and actually like a lot of big cycles have been coming to an end for you, but overall it's like a really big cycle. And like, this is the thing that one must understand. If you look at a tree, like, there are a lot of branches on a tree. You don't see a tree that's just one big branch. Like, that doesn't you know, rarity exists, but that's not how trees usually are, right? There are a lot of different branches. And if you think about the parable of the tree, this isn't really a parable, I guess it kind of is, but I think this is like in Proverbs, in the grimoire that is called the Bible. In that book, there is they talk about pruning a tree, and when there's a diseased branch on the tree, you have to prune that and remove it. I'm also thinking about like reeds, where they talk about like you can reattach a branch to a different tree, actually, and it will bond with a different tree that is healthy. You can do that as well, and I sense that that's what's happening to you, actually. Like, you have been taken out of the old element, the old environment that you were in, so that you could be attached to a healthy tree, a healthy community that you were being kept from, because you had to, you know, Okay, so like if trees, we're thinking about trees. I do sense that this has a lot to do with the community of origin, the family of origin. And like I said, this does have to do with like trauma. So it could be that like you stuck around. Let's talk about like going back into the cards. 5 of Wands in reverse, 8 of Cups, Queen of Cups in reverse, 2 of Swords in reverse, 4 of Pentacles, and like I said, trauma bond. This person is someone who knew that they would be able to like create a trauma bond with you because they knew that, like, especially I'm hearing fawning, they knew that by victimizing you in this way, you would like develop a trauma bond and be activated in a way that you would attach to this situation because of trauma that happened to you in your childhood. And the reality that people need to understand is we all have CPTSD. Not everybody has it like extreme, but we all do, living in this in this empire, the Euro-American empire, this global cultural paradigm. We all have CPTSD. You know, I've talked about this, maybe not on this platform, but I talk about this with like people around me a lot. Like when I started to realize around the age of 18, like just what a tremendous impact like 9/11 and the subsequent chaos that happened in the United States had on me, because I literally was constantly, and I do think that this also has to just do with like my personal like legacy of trauma that is specific to my lineage. But I was just like always like, I had this deep-seated fear of experiencing a terrorist attack. And I'm not talking about like just real terrorism isn't like what happened at 9/11. Like true terrorism is terrorizing a populace so that they feel that they cannot do anything. That is actually, that's ritual abuse. So this idea of like, oh, we can't go to like public places, otherwise we have to be afraid. One of my mentors told me that like she started homeschooling her kids because they're afraid to go to school, because they're afraid of gun violence at school, or pew pew violence at school. And that is like, you know, I actually do have a fear of going to the movies. Every time I go to the movie theater, like this fear comes up for me, where I'm just like, okay, well, you gotta get over it. You can't live your life in fear, which is a big part of why I don't go to the movies often. I don't go, I'm not into parades, they stress me out. I'm also neurodivergent, but like living in a culture of fear and domination and abuse, because that's what we see, that is made to seem normal to us, even through media of like, you know, watching people be violent to one another in cartoons, in children's shows, like that kind of stuff. Honestly, that's not normal. If you think about like baby shows, they don't show things like that. But when you get to have like kids shows like on Cartoon Network and things like that, Disney Channel, things like that, like you see a lot of people committing acts of violence against one another, or animals doing that, whatever, what have you. It indoctrinates us into like a normalization of violence, and whether or not we're acting on the physical aspect of that, like that still lives within our subconscious, and it definitely desensitizes us so that like when we see violence happening, we don't have an appropriate reaction to it, you know. And so this is why I'm saying like every single one of us is a victim of CPTSD by this dominant hegemony of control and domination. We should not have to, nobody should think that poverty is normal. Nobody should think that starvation is normal. That's not normal at all, whatsoever. What we are experiencing in this moment collectively is not normal. It is abnormal, and it is an abomination. Unfortunately, you know, through this trauma, of indoctrination. This is a sociological principle. You learn this stuff in intro level, like 101, sociology 101. Through indoctrination, these things are made to be like normal to us, and we have to get out of that kind of thinking and understand, like, you know, if we feel terrible all the time, this is probably why. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize that there's so much trauma in their bodies and their subconsciousness that like they're not doing the work. And you know, in some ways, I do feel like there is the silver lining. One of the only beneficial aspects of like my having so much trauma on top of like personal trauma on top of like the general trauma is that like I have no choice but to heal, because I can't function in society unless I do that. But a lot of other people who had relatively normal seeming lives, like they don't know why they feel the way that they feel. And it's like, you know, whether or not you know the answers will come to you once you get upon the journey of healing yourself. That's all that you need to know. You don't need to know why you feel this way. Just do what you got to do to address it, and the answers will come. You know what I mean? And so when we talk about childhood trauma, I feel a lot of the time people also think that it's like, oh, family stuff, oh, hitting. No, it can also be like being bullied. It can also be like, and not just even by other kids, because sometimes I've definitely seen teachers bully other kids. I had my 3rd grade teacher, we all loved him, but now as an adult, I remember that he like used to bully these 2 kids, Kevin and Wayne, and he would like make homophobic jokes about them. And it's also inappropriate because he was white and Kevin was Mexican and Wayne was Chinese. So that was just really bizarre, and I don't understand like why that was happening. Is absolutely not okay. But yeah, like things like that. And I'm sure that like, you know, moving forward, like it could be like, oh, I'm sure that Kevin and Wayne don't even remember that. They're not even thinking about it. And it's like, actually, it's probably like rooted in their subconscious, like programming. You know what I mean? So you never know. It can be a lot of things. Even if it was like one major instance of like seeing a car accident. Like I know that like when I was very young, my brother was in a really, really horrific car accident. And one of my sisters and I, like neither of us drives, and I like got my driver's permit. I went to driver's ed. I have driven, like I haven't driven since I was 22. That was 7 years ago. So like I need to go back to driver's ed. Like I know how to drive. But I, like, even in driver's ed, like, I would drive so slowly. I was so cautious. I was so scared. Also, I have ADHD, and a lot of people who have ADHD and or autism and or generalized anxiety disorder, OCD, a lot of us who are neurodivergent due to hypersensitivity, driving can be overstimulating for us. So a lot of the time we live in major cities that are walking cities so that we don't have to drive. But, you know, I realized that had a huge impact on me because, like, he almost died. It was, like, I'm pretty sure it was on the news. Like, it was a really bad, like, car accident. I was very young. I was, like, in 1st or 2nd grade. So, like, you never know what it could be that, like, is hindering you from being able to live a free, authentic life, and what it is that is causing you to have this trauma. But whatever it is a trauma from childhood. And I say all of that to say, it doesn't matter if you know exactly what it is, just start the healing work. And from what I already picked up in the reading, like, for whoever this is for, you already, like, are on the healing journey. They did not get you trapped or stuck, because what this card tells me, the Fool in reverse, is that you had already developed a foundation of healing. You're already progressed along your path. You already understood to some degree, like, that you had issues that you were working on and what those issues were. You may have been a codependent and you have already started that, or you already have a therapist and whatever. You may have already been on that path, but it was time to kick it up a notch. I don't like to call experiences tests, because that's not necessarily what it is. When I was talking to a member of my community a couple days ago, I was explaining I don't like to call these things tests, because this is just how the universe works. When a molecule is jumping from one state to another, if it has to change I don't remember, electrical charge. So it has to get strong enough, it has to get enough force, it has to get enough energy, which means it has to vibrate fast enough that it can jump out of the magnetic force that is holding it together with the original charge that it had, out into a different charge in order for it to change. I'm talking about protons, neutrons, and electrons. It has to do, it has to get fast enough to be able to break free from the strong force and jump into a different state. You know what I mean? And that is what catalyzes changes in states of matter and, well, all states of matter, but if you want to talk about physics, that's what it requires in order to do that. And that's the same for us. In order for us to timeline jump to shift out of the reality that we were once living in, we have to get enough power going. We have to start vibrating at a frequency fast enough for us to shift to a different timeline. And do remember that everything that's happening in the material world is already a manifestation of things that have happened in higher frequencies, because this is a very, very low density dimension that we live in. It's the third. 3D is very, very slow. You know what I mean? So these things have already happened, and each of us, energy is eternal. It's neither created nor destroyed. So we, outside of our physical body, we all have our own electromagnetic field. And when we are moving at a frequency that's fast enough, to shift realities isn't oh, I'm gonna go to a new planet. No, I'm not talking about that. It is a matter of getting out of the reality that you were in, and that does require a consciousness shift, a mindset shift. So this experience, I'm not going to call it a test, because that's not what it is. It is an and I really would encourage folks to not use that language, because this is what puts us at odds with the rest of the universe. Whether or not you believe in a spiritual higher power, the universe is a higher power to you. It is a power greater than yourself. To what degree we have control and impact on the universe is infinitesimal. Okay, so we can co-create with reality, but in the universe, but we are not the end-all be-all maker and shifter of all things, and clearly we're not if this is happening to you. So it's important to have perspective, because I feel some of you are blaming yourself for this situation, oh, I should have known better. I do sense this might have to do with school as well. I should have known better. I should have maybe you took I don't know. Some of you, this is a school situation, but that also counts as career and profession. When you look at your natal chart, or when you look at astrology, you can look at career and professional aspects in order to know how you need to work around school as well, because when you're a student, that is a profession, and that is your professional space. So even if you don't have a job, you've never had a job, I guess if you were a teenager or something like that, school is what is being I'm talking about school. But for a lot of folks, I make my content for adults. And I am talking about your professional space. I do feel it can also be platonic. So this has to do with the 7th house. This has to do with the 10th house. This has to do with Capricorn. It has to do with Saturn. especially in terms of tests. It has to do with Aquarius. In that way, it has to do with Uranus. Uranus is an eccentric planet because it is the axis tilt of Uranus is so irregular to the axis tilt of every other planet in our solar system that it's basically sideways. And so this is a part of why Uranus is a planet of eccentricity. And while I'm making this video, you know, take it as it applies. If you are watching when I record it, I'm pulling up the astrology, but I know that Uranus is in the sign of Taurus right now. Uranus is in the sign of Taurus right now, and it is retrograde, I want to say. I'm pulling up the chart. Excuse me for a second. It's not. I was thinking of Pluto. Excuse me. Uranus is in the sign of Taurus at 26 degrees. It will be moving into the sign of Gemini in 2025, I think in April 2025. And you will see a rapid shifting in consciousness, and also a rapid materialization of your manifestations coming through. So if this is outside of the time constraints that like you are working within, if this is like, if you're watching this within the time range of me recording it, or if you are watching it like even, I don't know, 10 years from now, I want to say 9 to 10 months is what I'm picking up, okay? 9 to 10 months, some of you 12. But yeah, this is about you reclaiming your sovereignty and you reclaiming your power. And you just have to do it. Like I said, like you can't stay in a bad situation and think that it's going to change if it doesn't change. You know, like you can't have your cake. Let's go back to that 4 of Pentacles, right? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? And something that I always say is like, I want to eat my cake. Like, you eat your cake and you can always just make a new cake. You can always go get a new cake. It doesn't really make any sense to have your cake and not eat it. It's going to go bad. You know, that reminds me of Elaine Bennis when she ate Mr. Peterman's cake, and it was like really old. It was a few decades old, I think. And she got super sick. That is that idea. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So like things have to change, and if things don't change, then they don't change. If that's what you want, you don't want to be in that same situation. You have to start making, you need to start making those shifts so that you're no longer in alignment with that and you move forward into a different situation. If you're concerned because you chose a university that like you don't like now, and you feel really guilty because maybe it was very expensive and your parents had to pay a lot of money, maybe they had to like take out a second mortgage or something like that, you got to figure out a way to not feel guilty. Excuse me. Confirmation burp. You got to figure out a way to not feel guilty about that, because like obviously you're not supposed to be there. If it's not like the experience that you're supposed to have, you have to just like get out of there. And I think that, you know, if you're afraid to be honest about this, which I can understand that if you have parents who are going to like really like rag on you for like changing schools or something like that, and especially if they're the kinds of people who are very transactional and like hold things over your head and make you feel guilty about stuff, I can understand that. But you just have to do what's best for you, because you're not going to finish school if you stay there, and you're not gonna like You need to have the best possible experience. So you need to be willing to make this change, you know, to make this shift into a different reality where you will thrive and do your best instead of being in a situation where you're not set up for success. And if they really love you, they will understand. Some of you, it's like you're afraid of this, but like you shouldn't be, because if what I said doesn't resonate and you're like, well, my parents are not like that, then what are you afraid of? You know what I mean? What you gotta do is you gotta introduce this conversation to them, and y'all can talk through it and y'all can figure out a solution. But you can't stay in this situation where you're having a bad experience and like you're not getting the tools that you need to succeed. And you feel at war with yourself. You don't know what to do. And I do sense that there's like guilt as well. But for going back to what I was saying, like some people, it's like, oh, like I you know, they saw that they could prey upon you and manipulate you and enmesh you and trauma bond with you, so that's what they did. And you may have been in a big trauma response, trying to stay, trying to make the practical decision or the right decision is what I'm picking up. Like for me, I think about like, what is the practical decision here a lot. And, you know, quitting your job in an economic depression is not necessarily the practical decision. But if it's a matter of life or death, if you know what I mean, then you need to pick life, because are you going to be able to make any decisions whatsoever if you are not alive? No. And I don't think that anybody who loves and cares about you is going to be like, yeah, well, you know, they may be dead, but I'm so proud of them because they stuck in a situation that was killing them until they died. No. And if people in your life would ever be like that, then they should not be in your life. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when we say things out loud, we realize how ridiculous we are being in our minds. And that's why it's so important to say things out loud. Some of you, I'm seeing that like it's a real estate company that you work for, and it's really like they're just sabotaging you. They are stealing from you. They're stealing from you. Not even just energetically, but like they're literally stealing money from you. They're stealing, like, I sense that some of your coworkers maybe, like they steal your leads, they steal your ideas and market it as their own. Yeah, this is really fucked up. They don't want you to prosper. They want you to be, there's a lot of people in your life that want you to be in a state of have not and a state of subservience. Fuck them. You better fucking call judgment. Call judgment. You better call judgment. You better declare your sovereignty. I have posted on my YouTube page my declarations of sovereignty. You better call back your power and cut cords with these hoes. Deadass. And some of you, these people are going to experience the full weight and the full brunt of going up against you. If you identify as a chosen one, earth angel, you know, other outlier, what have you, they're about to really experience like hell on earth. And also, if they had any rank, they're losing rank. Sometimes when we talk about death in readings, it's a spiritual death, not a physical death, and they lose rank. If you think about like what happened to the fallen angels. So in one of the apocryphal books, I think it's the book of Enoch, Enoch is talking about like Enoch, when he passed away, he didn't die actually, he was ascended into heaven. And he was made the archangel Metatron. Enoch, in the book of Enoch, he had prophetic dreams, and he had much wisdom. That is what they said about Enoch. And he, when the times of the pre-Diluvian times of the flood came and the destruction was upon the earth, even, this is from the book of Giants, the giants had to go find him because they were having dreams of their destruction, and they went to go find him and ask him about it. And he was like, he told them what was happening, and they didn't like that answer. He told them what was going to happen, which was that they were going to be destroyed. These are the Nephilim. And they didn't like that answer, but it is what ended up happening. But in the apocryphal book of Enoch, he is ascended into heaven in a dream, in the dream realms, astral projection. And he is shown, I want to say that it's the Ophanim, but I don't remember, but he is shown like these beings, and they are like blinded or something, and they have like blindfolds on them, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a little while since I've read the book of Enoch, but they were like trying to sing, but it was like so bad, like it was a mockery, if you will. And it was just so like pathetic is the word that I believe that they use in the book. And if you know anything about angels, they are choirs. The different ranks of angels are different harmonic choirs. So we are talking about frequency and vibration. And yeah, that's what an earth angel is like, you naturally carry this frequency of whatever like rank of angelology you are on. And so these ones were fallen to such a low rank and to such a low frequency beneath what they had come from, that they were like trying to like sing praise to the Most High, I guess, and it was just like coming out disgusting, croaking stuff. I'm seeing like a scene from this book that I read, Poison Study. Some of you, it's a lot of people about to lose rank in this season. It's a lot of people who already lost rank, and they're about to start experiencing what life is going to be like at this new level for them. And it's going to be worse than if they passed away in the human sense. They are not going to be able to escape their suffering and torment for the things that they have done, because they didn't only do this, this punishment is because of what they did to you. Take it as it applies, but some of these people have done this to a lot of people. And also they're just like a piece of work. They do this, they're a violent person. This person is, I'm picking up for some of you, this is what people colloquially refer to as a Karen. And they just cause wild harm because they are drunk off of their privilege, basically. And they're about to get real fucking sober because they're about to lose everything. The suffering, they're gonna walk upon the earth. They're gonna walk upon the earth as if an orphan. Ooh, Psalm 21. They're gonna walk upon the earth as if an orphan, not of their family, but of their God. In my tradition, each of us has a family God, and our family God is the progenitor of our lineage. They are being excommunicated from their lineage. They are no longer protected by their great gods, guides, and ancestors. They will walk the earth as Cain. Yes, that's what I'm picking up, bro. Take it as it applies, like I said, but this is the judgment that is upon them for what they did. And I just got a ding. Confirmation. Some of these people, what was I saying before this? Yeah, so they're losing rank and you're regaining rank. Some of you, like, you incarnated into a bloodline that was really, really, really messed up, so that you could restore that bloodline. You may have ancestors who like they waged war against the divine. The auspices of the divine is what I'm hearing. So, you know, they participated in the desecration of life on earth, basically. Some of you might be from a Masonic bloodline. You might have like Masonic wizards in your family. Some of you have family members, and you got to remember, like, even just like prior to, not modernity, but well into modernity, which is not contemporary. Modernity in terms of ages of human beings starts with the Industrial Revolution, and we are in a contemporary moment. We, especially after Y2K, like we're past the age of modernity. Okay, this I believe is called the Epicene age or the Apocene age. I don't remember, but we are past the time of modernity. I'm talking about modernity in the sociological sense. If you're an art history major, this is a type of modernity I'm talking about. Well into modernity, people still did practical magic, and like, you know, that's where the idea of old wives' tales and like folkloric stuff. I mean, even people, like, there are elders even today who are like in their 80s and stuff like that, who still, like, you know, have that knowledge and that wisdom. It's mainly, I would say, that starts to change with baby boomers onward. But yeah, magic is much more, people were still doing like practical magic and things like that, and people, oh, superstition, what do you think a superstition is? You know what I mean? But yeah, somebody, I'm picking up a grandmother, honestly, like, may have done dark magic. They may have tried to sell your soul to a high-ranking entity of unsacred magics, is what I'm picking up here. And obviously, like I said, none of the things that they tried to do worked, because you are the sun. You are the sun. You are the sacred child, 333. And you're higher ranking than all of these people, you know, and they may have tried to sell your soul, and it didn't work. And they're going to, not only are they being bedeviled right now, but they're about to experience hell on earth. Their kids are going to die. Some of these people, take it as it applies. You know, some of this message, this feels like a very specific, intense message. So this is less general for sure. If you don't feel like you're the chosen one of your bloodline, like your spirit was chosen to come and reincarnate into your bloodline to restore your bloodline from all of the terrible, from all of the ways that it has fallen, then it does not apply to you, probably. And don't go worrying, oh God, is this person gonna die? You need to be discerning, like I said. If you know that you are relatively mundane, one thing I would say is don't go looking for trouble and trying to make like your life more magical than it needs to be. If you actually like lived this life, you would not want it. Trust and believe. But some of you, like when I say this is the time of judgment, especially for if you're watching this when I'm recording it, the prophetic wisdom is coming in that things are going to get significantly worse. They are getting worse as we speak. I'm channeling right now. One of my ancestors is telling me things are, it seems like it's getting worse, but it is the time of judgment, and the suffering is, the suffering are for those unjust, those who do not walk in righteousness. So you must walk in the ways that you have learned, fool in reverse. You ain't no fool. You are not a fool. Do not worry about trying to get revenge on these people because they have sealed their fate. If you're watching this when I record it, Lionsgate portal is in 4 days. We already have the new moon. This Mercury retrograde is going to rewrite the codes. And especially when Pluto next month retrogrades back into the sign of Capricorn. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. The meek shall inherit the earth. Read the Beatitudes. Some of you, that will be helpful for you, especially if you identify as a crystalline, if you identify with Christ consciousness. Yeah. This person who attacked you might be like a really, really low ranking demonic entity. Child of Lilith is what I'm picking up. They may not, I think that to some extent they know their power to some extent, but they're really not like into the occult like that for real. But to some extent they know, like, you know, I don't know if y'all know, but what I've experienced and what I have seen to be true is like sometimes when you're a kid and you just know that you have special abilities that other people don't have, like you figure out how to live with those abilities, right? And you may not like go around telling everybody about them, but like you learn how over time how to use your abilities for yourself. What I'm picking up is this person knows how to like drain people's energy. They're an energy vampire. They might be a blood drinker, but I get the sense that like they might be anemic. Some of you, they do drink blood. Some of you, they do drink blood. When I was a kid, I used to also be like, I've said this before, like, just because you incarnate into a bloodline that's fallen doesn't mean that you're evil. And if you fell, if you incarnated into this bloodline to restore its frequency, it's like you are the one who like was pruned off of the rotting tree and moved to a new tree and attached your branch. This is something I learned. I am not a member of the institution, the church as an institution, but this is something that I learned from one of my favorite pastors that we had in the church that I grew up in as a child. He talked about this. I don't remember where it is in the Bible, but it's in there. And basically, like this taking off of the branch and reattaching it to a new tree. You were taken, you had to incarnate into this family tree in order for you to transmute all of that energy. And then when you got high enough, this hermit mode here, you were taken off of the family tree because it is that gene pool is a cesspool. Let me put it to you that way. You were taken off of that family tree, out of that community of origin, and you are now being attached to this new tree. And this tree of life is what I'm hearing. Oh my God, you may have been on the inverted 𝗪𝗪𝗁𝗪. I don't know much about the 𝗪𝗪𝗁𝗪 or the 𝗪𝗪𝗁𝗪. I'm not a left-hand path girly. If I'm being real with you, I have never been allowed to do any of that kind of stuff. I have studied those things like in a know your enemy type sense, and I do have like both dark and light lineages, but I don't know a lot about that kind of stuff in depth. That is not where my journey has taken me. But I know what I do know about the 𝗪𝗪𝗁𝗪 or the 𝗪𝗪𝗁𝗪, whatever, is that's where the vampires are, and that's where they come from. And it is that inversion of the tree of life. I posted something, an image that I have been trying to use for, I think, the live that I did 2 weeks ago. Maybe for the full moon, I think. Yeah, it was for the second Capricorn full moon. And you went there to, one, destroy the enemies of the divine, and two, you know, as a warrior, because angels are not just messengers, and angels are not just like, oh, love and light, let's be friends. No. In fact, it says, let me read this to you. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 to 39. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me. This is Yeshua channeling the living waters. If it's Christ Yeshua, he's talking about the Christendom. He's talking about Christ consciousness. He's talking about, like, speaking from the high heart, okay, as a crystalline. So if you identify as a crystalline, once you understand how to decode these writings, this is very important, because this is, like, in its own way, the Light Worker's Handbook, which is a really great channeling from somebody called Cryon. If you haven't watched that or read it, I'd encourage you to. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. And this is before the crucifixion. So just think about that. Your crossroads, your burden, your karma, the work that you have to do to resolve karma and experience moksha, so you no longer have to be in the cycle of samsara. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. Life I put with a capital L, because it's like, what we're living in this society is not a life. You think going to a fucking bullshit ass email job 9 to 5 to create arbitrary nonsense that is not actually helpful in any way and only serves to continue the destruction of the planet, that's a life? No, it's not a life. That is a distraction from life. If you are not overcome with joy, like, on the regular, you're not living. You're not living. If you're not overcome with gratitude on the regular, you are not living. And that means you gotta get right and get your life. You feel me? You gotta get your life. And this means divesting from these negative paradigms and these, like, you know, wicked ways of being, period. Whether or not folks like it, that's the tea. It's just what it is, bro. You feel me? So this is really important to understand, because some folks, you didn't want to walk away from these situations when you had been offered, you had been sitting at the crossroads, and you didn't want to walk away because of trauma. Whether or not it was like enmeshment, or like you had the trauma bond of like, I'm afraid to leave because like I'm afraid of like not being able to find a new job. Maybe you were like, I need to find a new job first, and you couldn't find that new job. Or maybe you were like, you know, whatever it was giving. You feel me? All of this to say, if this person wants you to come after them, They want you to come after them so that they can like further harm you. Don't even give them a second of your time. They are, oh my God, so fucking demonic. Like, so demonic. And they have actively been preying upon your energy. I would do a cord removal if I were you, ASAP. I would cancel any like works against you, because they're also obsessed with you, and they're obsessed with controlling you, and they're like, I'm looking at this, doesn't this, in this Five of Wands, whatever is on this guy's back, if it's a tattoo, I don't know what that is, but that looks demonic to me. This person like is obsessed with you. Think about like how obsessed all of the vampires were with 𝗂𝗍 in True Blood. This person is obsessed with you. They want to drain you of all of your life energy. This is why if you were like in their class, if you were in their, whatever they built, you could never, you just felt drained all the time. You felt like you were fighting against, like, you were on an uphill battle, basically. You were trying to walk against the wind blowing down a wind tunnel type shit, you know? And they wanted you to feel that way. They were like eating your energy. Everything had to be hard for you. They were draining you of your life force. And they really wanted you to, if you experienced a lot of SI during this time, this is why. This is why they wanted you to have no time or energy. If you're not subscribed to my Substack, the channel, but the mysteries tier of the channel, it's $11.11 a month, $111.11 annually. So that means basically you get 2 months free if you do an annual subscription. But I talk about this in the August Insights. Go read that to get it in depth. But this person wanted to steal your life. They wanted to steal your life. They wanted to steal your light. They are deeply intimidated by you. That's why they would attack you, because they know that they are 𝗂𝗨𝗪. They know that they are an abomination in spirit. They might be from a fallen, a lineage of the fallen ones. That's what I'm picking up, is that they are of the fallen ones. Cut from a different cloth. Yeah, cut from a different cloth. So this person has been obsessively thinking about you and sending like so much energy your way. Most of it hasn't been able to touch you, but I would still be like cleansing and clearing regularly, cord cutting. If you have the authority to bind this person from affecting you, I would do that. If you have the authority to bind their tongue from speaking against you, I would do that. If you don't have spiritual rank and authority, don't do that. If you are a mundane, which my guides protect my platforms from being interacted with by mundanes, if you are a mundane, you shouldn't be doing magic at all, actually. You should be living intentionally and earth integrated, but you should not be doing magic because you don't have that rank to do it. So if you know that you're not an outlier, I would really encourage you to not go fucking around with shit that you don't understand, because it'll have consequences. But yeah, this person's obsessed with you. They're nuts. They've been driven insane. They think about you constantly when they're driving, when they're just like, you are like all that they think about. And they are mad because they feel like you have seen them for who they really are. They felt like they were getting away with it, is what I'm hearing. They thought they were getting away with it, and you've seen who they really are, and they knew that shit. And that's part of why they didn't like you. And they were doing everything they could to make you feel alienated. And they know that you have seen them for who they are. This tiger's really standing out to me. Let's see what tiger means spiritually. It is associated with Saraswati. I mean Lionsgate 444. Look at this. Lionsgate, I mean 88. Lyrans, Orion. Primal instincts, unpredictability, and ability to trust yourself. Spiritual messages. You have had spiritual messages, intuition. Your angels, ancestors, and guides, great gods, guides, and ancestors have been telling you. They've been guiding you about this. You need to trust your instincts. This person thinks that they're a snake. They're a snake. They think that they are cunning, but they don't know that you are the fucking predator. They thought that they could hunt you and prey upon you, but they didn't know that that was only allowed to happen so that they would show who they really were, and so they could receive judgment. Call judgment, like I said. This is saying you're the predator. They have no idea. They want you to call them out so that they can like discredit you and abuse you. And they can like, they want you to call them out because they want to sabotage your career by calling them out. Don't do it. They see your goddesshood or your godhood, your divinity, and they want to kill you. They don't even know why. They are trying not to wish death upon you, but they do. They're so jealous that they want that. Like, this is the type of envy that kills. Remember, I talk about this. Venus retrograde in Scorpio in 2020. People will kill you out of jealousy. Yolanda killed Selena. She was obsessed with her. She thought that she was in love with her, and she was jealous of her. And she dead ass killed that girl, head of her fan club. I'm hearing every time I try to leave, something keeps pulling me back, telling me I need you in my life. If they didn't do spell work, they may have done some spell work. They've considered it. They've prayed against you for sure, though. But it's nothing that they've done is working. What you're going through is sacred and divine. You have been like reintegrating and being reforged into this new tree of life. This kingdom of heaven. Okay? Do not give this person a single iota of your time, energy, platform. Bind them, ground and neutralize them, remove the cords. Bind them. That's what I'm hearing. Bind them. I've talked about this before. I think I put this in the last newsletter. But a lot of people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about think that they think about binding as in like, oh, you bind yourself to another person. I don't know when people started thinking that was like what binding is. That is a form of binding, but that's not what, when I was coming up, especially like back in the early 2000s, the only binding that I ever was hearing about or knowing about was to bind someone's actions. So like you cannot cause harm anymore. And most of you don't have the authority to like do big deal magic, but for whoever I'm talking to, who this is resonating, like everything is resonating, you have the authority to bind. You have the authority to bind this person, because they have to, just like people have to face consequences and punishment for causing harm, like for committing crimes, they have to face consequences and punishment, and they need to be bound from being able to do any more harm to you and to others. So yeah, that's Spirit. Are there any more messages that you have for the collective? Holy Spirit. Three of Wands. Work together with your spiritual community. Change is coming. Like I said, a lot of these people who've been working against the collective are going to experience, they're gonna fall, and they're going to experience like life. Okay, so the idea is that like those who joined in, there are many different like heavenly rebellions, but some of the ones that like happened, they were repentant over it because they realized that they had been lied to and manipulated. And so those ones, they may be fallen, but they are being restored to glory. So that is, some of you, that's what your ancestors are, is that they drank the Kool-Aid because they were manipulated. But then others of you, strength. Yeah, they're not gonna be successful, so stay strong through this experience. Things are changing. The sun is coming up. Okay? Work together with your community. Stop trying to invest your energy into relationships with people who are frankly demonic. Like if you're struggling to find a job, create a job for yourself. If you're struggling to find, an education, maybe you need to educate yourself. If you're struggling with like I said, like my mentor, her kids are afraid to go to school, so they are homeschooled now. For those of you who are, I'll give you the idea of a group project at school. Maybe your group sucks and they are fucking around and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and they're just playing like games and being lazy and dumb. If that is the case for you, then I would encourage you to just be done with them, honestly, and go tell your teacher that you want to be in a different group, and ask if you can request a group to work with in the future. Even if not everybody gets to work with a group that of their choosing, you can ask to work with a group of your choosing, because you need to work with people who you're going to work well with, and not with people who are going to sabotage your wellness. So like I said earlier, you need to know where you're investing your energy and be discerning about that. This is about you. Patience. Yeah, it is happening. It is coming. Be patient. I know that it's really hard to do because you're really uncomfortable. I sense that, and people have been trying it. It's not just this person. It feels like a lot of you have had it coming at you at all sides. 10 of Swords. You may feel like this Ten of Swords energy, like you just can't take it anymore. When is the new life going to start? But here it is. You're walking into the great unknown, okay? And as for this Ten of Swords and Ace of Cups, this isn't you, baby. This isn't you. This is them. Those people who stood against you. They're about to get what's coming to them. This is you. Kingdom of Heaven. All right, so that's all I got for you. I love you all truly and deeply. I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, take it as it applies. Some of you, you know, you're more on the spectrum of the mundane things and less so the big things, but like they're about to just experience adversarial energy. Their star is gone out. Like the Tower, this is what they're about to, this is what they're going through. And some of them, they're gonna get divorced, they're gonna die a spiritual death. Some of them will physically die. Some of them, their family is gonna suffer for their sins, and they're gonna have to sit there and know that is what happened. They're not progressing in life. Nothing good is gonna happen to them, but everything good is coming to you. So just stay the course, be strong, be patient, pray, ask for help, ask for support as you move through all of this. And just be mindful of controlling your energy and not letting anybody get you out of your character. I love you all truly and deeply. I will see you on the flip side.